Welcome into the stream, everybody. We are going to be going over some chart trading, some Asia stuff, going to break down pretty much what we're seeing in the market. Thank you for hanging out. Let's get into it. So first and foremost, we're going to be obviously starting here on top one futures. We're going to look at some levels. As you can see, we've seen a little bit of a move lower off of the open. This is not to be a surprise given the fact that we opened up so high. We had this after hours kind of push at the very end of the day. And now we're here. So what are we looking at specifically? Well, we want to see how are we going to react after such a big move. I mean, we've had a lot of news catalysts kind of come in the market. You can see there's some data from orders this morning. We also had NFP last week, FOMC last week. So a lot is cleared up to the uncertainty. Now we're just seeing a strong market that's pretty much absorbed that down daily candle. Now, I'm sure you guys can tell this is quite an extreme reversal right here. So where does that leave us to look for trades? Pretty simple. Pretty simple. We want to start to establish where are we trading against, right? That's my first and like my main prerogative. We're looking at this level down here. We swept it. Is that a reasonable area for us to hold? I think so. It's not necessarily a super deep pullback, but it was a super extreme pullback. If we do look from swing high to swing low, we can see that right here. It might give us a little shallow of a 50%. See if we get that. Here we are. So yeah, just shy of 50% from here to here on this rally, which is all right. Sometimes you don't get deep pullbacks, especially if the market's pretty strong. So where are we looking to trade for this session? I'm going to break down some levels that I'm seeing. We'll go over some of the news that's pretty much coming up this week. It is pretty thin, I will admit. But we do want to look at where we are in relation to yesterday's range. So yesterday I had a it's really just today, but earlier today, before the close, we had a pretty extreme rally, right? We had this pop, it was a sweep, came back down. I was able to get this little short in here. And then now we've rallied on all of this. There's a lot of positive news in the market, but that doesn't mean that technical pullbacks aren't on the table. So today we'll get into our risk settings. We're going to have our personal daily loss limit at 350 for the day, personal daily profit target at 600. And I think that's good. So we'll lock out the risk settings so you don't have to worry about that. And then we'll go back into our trading. That's the benefit of using Top One Futures, Project X. You can lock out your risk so you don't accidentally do anything. You ever leave an order on the tape, over on the book right here, sometimes it'll get filled and it'll result in a bad loss if you forget about it. So I like to keep it pretty simple. Lock out the risk before anything happens. And yeah, we're really just going to kind of watch what we're doing here. So I see a sweep. I see this is the daily open right here. And my question is, do we really want to continue lower? Do we really want to look for something like this down into here? I wouldn't mind it, honestly. Like if you really think about what we have to do for the daily chart, we need some sort of pullback to form the bottom wick to then go higher. But that's just, looking at basic logic of candlesticks. Almost every candlestick is going to have some sort of wick. This is going to be prior day high right here. So these will be my levels for tomorrow as well. Prior day high right here. And we also have this prior new day gap right here. Very subtle, but it still exists. So I would be potentially interested in seeing how we trade against that. So as you guys already know, with the Asia stream, we keep it pretty chill. We look at some trade ideas. We break down what we see in real time. And if there's an opportunity, we might stab at it. Sometimes with size, sometimes with pennies. It really just depends. So yep, we can see that daily candle is going lower first, which is all right. We might wait to see how we react to these lows over here and this previous new day gap. I think that could be a pretty interesting area for a long. However, we're just going to kind of monitor things. Remember, with the prior day range, we can really trade pretty far into here. Even above 50% would still be bullish, which is kind of interesting if you look at it that way. So we have our little lower time frame level right here. Prior day high. We have a previous low right here that got swept. prior daily low. And that's really kind of what we're rocking with. Okay, this initial fair value gap that we have respected. I want you guys to think of price as a sort of, it's an operation, right? So things have to do X, Y, then Z. It's a procedure. That's what the algorithm really is. When I talk about that, it's a step-by-step thing. So if we're going down and we're respecting bearish gaps, that's indication of a bearish protocol in play. Same thing goes when you see one of these levels get completely obliterated. That's telling you that the bearish instance or moment is no longer there. So that's what we kind of want to monitor. We want to monitor how we're engaging with specific levels. We'll be trading today, Top One Futures 50K account, working this one towards a payout. We'll do that live on stream later this month. Probably. I don't know. Probably do that on stream. I think that'd be cool. The cool thing is with these 55% off, you can get legitimately in an account for a couple $100 and get paid out a couple grand. You just have to follow the consistency rules. So these are accounts for traders who can trade well. If you can't trade well, stick to an eval. You're better off learning there, or better yet, learn in a practice account. That's probably the best thing you could do if you're brand new. But if you're in here, it shows me that you know a little bit about what's going on, and this is as close to real experience as you can get. Watching someone else go through it, that's how I've always enjoyed learning. So feel free to ask questions. Anything you guys have in mind, I'm more than welcome to answer, more than willing, so I can help you out with that. And yeah, we'll really just kind of just keep chipping away at whatever shows up today. I'm thinking this still is going to trade lower right here. I don't think this is going to hold right here. So we have room till right here. It's only a couple points. So I'd rather just see how it reacts. And again, that's that prior daily gap right there. We'll pull up our official NQ charts in a second. I like to have both. I like to have a good mix of both. So I'll use this, and then I will have this right here. Here we are. Yeah, you see a little bit of a pullback on the 15. Go ahead, clear all my levels. So this is what we did yesterday. I want you to know this is how we started the week. We had a sell-off on over here, Friday and Thursday. We sold off, initially inverting this gap up here. And then we come down into the close where Asia trades higher, dip lower in London, sweep that low right there. And then we rally through the open. Strong open to the week. So it's very plausible for us to come back into this area. Oh, maybe in this area, right? Like those are the two main areas of interest that I have in mind. This is our 1 minute chart. We're seeing a little bit of a pop right here, kind of back into that opening gap. Yeah, you can see right here back into this gap. So 30-second. We're going to pull up a 5 minute chart right here. Yeah, so our next swing low on the 5 minute would be 325, which is literally the same as this one. And we have this gap below it. So we have kind of room to 300. This is kind of, it's going to be a thinner move. This happened at 4. It's not too much volume. This is mostly going to be based on some sort of earnings when you see something like that. So my interest would be from really here to see how we engage at 300. That would be the kind of range that I'm looking for. Whether or not I want an entry is kind of, I'm not unsure as on that just yet. I think I'll give it the first 15-minute candle, maybe the first 30-minute before I take an entry. But we will look to trade some sort of scalp-based structure. I would love to break down some of the scalp-type models that I'll use in sessions like this. And we'll really just kind of have fun with it. So feel free to ask questions. If you enjoy this type of back and forth, leave a like. And yeah, we'll keep going with it. Alrighty, yeah, so we're seeing it kind of consolidate at the lows. This is like a little breakdown type pattern. If you wanted to trade this, you trade it with like a stop above it. So you do something like this. And you take one off at this low. This is kind of the structure that I would have in mind. That's a heavy 15 minutes to start the session. Really below that, it's all we have is like just this gap right here. So you'd ideally want to see this have an immediate momentum. Otherwise, you'd be quick to want to get out of a trade like this. Just because if it's going to hold this low right here, it'll just pop to the top real quick. So it's more of like a, I need to see a push or I'm willing to just rip it off. See how it's just holding so far? It looks like it wants to make the move, but we just got to be mindful. If it wants to just kind of pop right here, then we're out of the trade. So we'll see if we get the test of this 15-minute gap. Remember, I like setups where even if you're not right on the direction, meaning it wants to go higher long term, it still would be best for it to go here. It's like a win-win, I guess. So we got a question. Can you talk on the emotions you experience when entering a trade? Do you ever feel like your heart starts pounding faster? Happens to me every time I enter a trade. I mean, yeah, definitely when I was like earlier on in my trading, I would always feel that. I would always feel that. And normally it's either going to be you're not too sure on what the strategy is that you're using, or it's just, you know, the size, really. There will be times where, yeah, I'll feel stuff like that. And it's typically a fact. Like the fact is I just have too much size on, or it's a trade I know I shouldn't be in. But overall, generally on my best trades, no, I feel fine. Even on losing trades, it's really not an issue anymore. It's something that goes away over time, but it's not like a overnight thing for sure. It definitely takes a little bit to get used to, you know, risking money. That's why I think paper trading is good in the beginning, because it gives you a good amount of experience without emotion, because there's no real losing. And then a step up above that would be doing like a prop firm evaluation, because you pay like 50 bucks or 100 bucks, or you get an account for a couple $100. It's much less than, you know, losing thousands, which, you know, when I first started, I was losing thousands of real money. It wasn't prop firm. So that's kind of the insight I have on that, but it will go away in time. The more you focus on what trades should be doing and where price should go and what it looks like when it doesn't work, the more comfortable you are with taking the loss. Like for me, I already know if this is going to stop me out, it's going to do it quick. So I'm not going to feel any certain way. I didn't use a lot of size because it's like, you know, maybe it's an okay trade. We're kind of just looking at this conceptually to see if it wants to trade into this gap. But I'm not like, I don't need this to work. It's okay if it doesn't work. 50 bucks is 50 bucks. See how it's starting to hold right here at this low, and see how I just said if it's going to stop me, it's going to run quick and do it. Those are ways that I like soften, you know, if we're talking about like the move of like how you feel, I come to terms with how it's going to happen. Like I've seen this trade fail a million times, seen it work. I see how it works when it works, but you know, that's not like, oh no, it's going to stop me out. That's what it's supposed to do. It's either going to go right here really quick, or it was going to go right here really quick. And it just shows right now that it's just not going to go down real quick, which is fine. The main, you know, people say in life, right? Suffering it comes from expectation. So if you expect things to be perfect and easy all the time, in terms of like, oh, nothing bad will ever happen or no loss will ever happen, you'll get anxious when it doesn't do that. But if you're like, yeah, it could easily stop me out. It could easily run right here right now. Like it could do this in 3 minutes. You know, it could. I'm never going to be let down because I think really anything could happen at any point. I've seen it. I've seen anything happen. Markets are super unpredictable sometimes. So it's like trying to form a higher low right here, right? But the question is, will it? It could have just been a little false rally to drop. We like the breakdown structure, but this could just be the wedge that gets broken out of higher low, then it runs to prior day high. I think sometimes too, if you're newer to trading, New York session can stress you out, especially first couple minutes, because it moves so fast. But at the end of the day, price is all kind of the same. So if you feel nervous, it could be better for you to wait a little bit, maybe use a higher time frame, less size. Do I sometimes get out earlier to reduce a loser? Sometimes, right? Like sometimes if I'm seeing that it's really obvious that it's not going to work, I might just keep cutting my stop in half until it takes me out. You know, I might meet it in the middle. But very rarely will I be like, nah, let me just rip a trade off. Normally I'll just let it work. Because I don't want to get in the habit ever of just putting a trade on just to rip it off, to put it on to rip it off. It normally doesn't suit me well. I'd rather let a trade work out, even if it takes a couple like little swings, then rip it on, rip it off, rip it on, rip it off, flip direction. That never works well for me long term. So I'd rather just let it kind of do its thing. And if this thing came and stopped me out right here, cool, that's fine. But I'm not I don't like flipping back and forth. So we're seeing some momentum. One thing I like to do too is anytime a move starts to happen, I'll just like hold the stop a little bit lower. You know, if this thing flips, the current candle flips to the downside, I'll let go of the stop like this. So now the stop's like 30 bucks, you know, and compared to what we were risking, I think it was 60 or 50. It's a little bit less. So I'll do things like that, but I don't necessarily need to remove risk super fast. I like to size where it's like, I don't even care if the stop happens with a trade like this. Yeah, flipping long, short. I'm telling you, most traders, I think after spending a few years, you know, seeing traders one-on-one kind of do their thing and show me where they mess up, I think the biggest thing that people struggle with is they give the stop not enough room, and then they're very quick to flip biases, just back and forth, back and forth. And it's like, for what? Because if you're wrong, you know, why would you all of a sudden be right if you think it goes the other way? You just said you were wrong. You didn't know what was going to happen. So now because it's losing, you know what's going to happen. It's a backwards logic. If we're wrong, it's better for us to do nothing because we already set the stop and we don't know what's going to happen. So we'll just let it hit the stop loss. But it's I call it like a mental distortion. People try to do it so that they don't feel bad for taking a loss. They're like, yeah, I was wrong, but if I flip long, then I'm right. Nope, that's not how it works. You could be wrong that it's going to go up now, and it still goes down, and then you lost on an idea that you would have won on. So you got to kind of just take it with a grain of salt. So this trade will either break this low real quick, confirm this little structure shift to the downside, or it's going to stop this out real quick and sweep the high. That's kind of the structure we have here because you have these three pushes, then you're having this little coil underneath. And that coil can easily just lead to like a one candle stop, which is why we size this super small. It's no big deal in a trade like this. We're at all-time highs. Like, what do you want me to do? I'm not going to be super eager to buy weakness right here because a pullback to this level is okay. If you're asking would I take an early stop, maybe on a trade like this, I might pull it off because at this point, I don't like it. I wanted to see at least a couple candles to the downside, but you know, I might do something like this where I haven't let go of the stop yet, but if I see it push below 332, I might let go of this and trail it even tighter. The stop still hasn't moved from like 341. It's being held at 336. So yeah, something like this, I might actually just drop it like right here. You see what I mean? Because it's trailing it. Now it's only $9. And this first target's like 20 bucks of 3 contracts, you know? So the risk reward becomes super skewed if you could kind of just read this little structure that's forming. If we break this low, I could probably put it break even, honestly. So I'll hold it at break even. We'll see. It might get trailed for minus $9, but if it breaks the low, we'll put it at profit. I think this is what Asia is good for. If you just want to like dabble, take a stab with a couple pennies, you know, you're good. Obviously, there are sessions where you could size into this aggressively, but right here, you know, location, all I want to see is a technical pullback, but not like super committed on the bias. So under 330, I'll let go of the stop loss, and then we'll be in profit on the trade. 331, I'm about to let go. I don't think I'll regret. I might regret it. I don't think I'll regret it. Yeah, I'm gonna give it one more second. Yeah, I don't like this current candle, so it's still being held. I haven't let go of the stop. But under 330, I'll drop it. I see a question. Do I ever use, for example, bullish bearish divergence? Not for like oscillators or stochastics or anything, or like RSI. I don't use really anything like that. I don't really like indicators in general. Like I don't like how they look, so I don't really use them. But I like to compare markets. So in my view, I'll look at if ES is being strong and NQ is being weak, it's probably going to be hard to trade either direction because they're correlated. All right, so here we have trailed this into profit. I don't know if it'll hit the target though. It might just wick me out. Let's see. This might wick me out. Being a little sketchy. Yeah, see? Okay, now we're break even. We lost 70 cents on that trade. It's all good. It's just being sketchy at these lows. I don't like this. You see, it made like 4 pushes, and now it's like that, got that wick right there. It could still go lower, but I'm not a fan. So we'll watch it. We have about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes till the first 30 minutes has formed. Right now, all we've seen is this rejection at this bearish gap right here, and it's trading now lower. So again, Top One Futures account, we'll be trading the 50K for these streams. Yeah, good trade, better break even. I mean, that's like how I would do it if I'm not like loving a trade, which obviously it's not anything crazy. You know, when we're talking about trades, you want like high degree of confluence, meaning you want many things working in your favor. If I had to walk you guys through this trade, it's pretty simple. This is exactly what I saw when I got into this. Number one, I saw the rejection of prior day high. I saw the spike, rejects, sweeps this previous swing high. I see this bearish gap, gets respected twice. And then I'm looking at the low a day break. Cool. That's a decent trade. Low a day break for the Asia session. And you trade back to some sort of significant swing point. That's a handful of things, right? It's like 2 or 3 main variables. What would have made this trade much better is something like if we were to add another layer of like maybe the 5-minute looked really good. Like the 5-minute chart was money. And then you had the 15 in alignment. Maybe you're in a 60-minute fair value gap. Those things are what make the trade really good. So yeah, we're approaching that main target we talked about, but I think we'll approach this a little differently. So we don't need to trade through. Yeah, that's the target we were talking about for the trade. So it did work. The trade did work. We were just taken out a little bit early. We are going to watch it though. We want to see how we react here. Because we have essentially, yeah, exactly. Boom, turtle soup at the highs, exactly. You look at it however you want with terminology. It's all the same things to us. Sweep of highs, turtle soup, up thrust. You know, I think everything's interchangeable. Just the story of what happened, right? It rejected up here really hard. So now the question is, are we going to hold this gap on this 15-minute, and then we're going to open this next 15-minute, maybe sweep lower, and then do the same back to the highs? That could be a higher low right here. It's gonna be a higher low. Yeah, everything's just marketing. It's whatever people want to say. That's cool. It's cool. Everyone has their different teaching styles or whatever. So yeah, nothing new in the markets. That's for sure. 100%. Everything. It's all different, but it's all the same. All right, here we are. The first 30 minutes is closed. I'm kind of interested to see how we react here. Yeah, see, we're starting to cut through. Interesting. So this might move for the 300 that we are talking about. A little hesitant. On it. So we're cutting through this. I think this is that new day gap from last week. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on every time frame so we can see this. So we want to see how we react here. If we can hold this 15-minute zone, that could be interesting. We might try the long here, like this. Not what I wanted to do. You could trade for this. It's a bit of an aggressive entry given the location, but I do like what we've done, right? So we've sold off into this little pocket. And if we're going to reject after sweeping this prior low, we can potentially run for this. I am sized conservatively. I don't think it's a super precise or whatever model, but logically it makes sense. And based on how Asia tends to trade, Asia does love to kind of fade these little ranges, right? We go 38.25, 38.25. Looks like, yeah, it's probably going to run the stop, which is okay. This is an aggressive trade. It shows we're respecting this tiny little fair value gap then. And then that means if this does not hold right here, it means our eyes should still be looking lower. I mean, it probably means our main idea was still in play. Take a look at the 15-second. I mean, yeah, there's a possibility for this to be the continuation for 300. Interesting. So this is just gathering data. Yeah, this could be looking for the rotation lower still. Nice. So we're trading lower. Where will we trade? Is this our extreme? Yeah, so we're under this new day gap. I'm gonna go ahead and flatten this. I don't want to hold on to that anymore. We're holding under this new day gap from last week. And yeah, we have this low right here. So we could potentially look to trade towards 300. Here we are. I do think the level is failing, so I'm gonna try it this way. Hopefully it's not a back and forth kind of scenario. But I do think this is a failed level hold right here. So I do think we could trade lower. Could be a little impulsive, a little rushed on my end, but I do think this is okay. I do feel like the trade I was looking at was failing. So I do think it's okay to look short. It's in alignment with my initial bias anyways. So we have this sweep right here, push, break below, trade lower. This level right here, 300. Let's see if we get the expansion. I didn't feel too confident in the long when I was taking it, which made me reevaluate what I was looking at. And I think the initial bias is still there. So this, essentially when I saw it break below here and this new day gap, right? We're under a few levels. So my thoughts are we could trade lower. Maybe fill in this 5-minute. We'll see. Maybe we just get swept out again. It's all good. That's a tricky part. Yeah, we can hold here. Maybe my stop initially was too tight for the long. Then we just get shaken out again. It's all good. Yeah, that could be just the area we're holding. It does seem likely that we could fall through it. So I'm not ruling that out. We do have this new day gap. Let me just draw this in different color. Really need to stay below the new day gap. That's kind of where our stop is. It's a 5 minute, 15, boom. 15 hammer, yeah, look at that hammer. So maybe it just did one push deeper. Maybe that's what this was, just forming the bottom of this wick. Probably move this 1 tick or 2 ticks higher. And we have this zone right here we have to work on. So we really need to see if we're going to hold below this previous new day gap. That's the level of interest we're working off of. I was thinking long right here, but given how we started to disrespect immediately, I was thinking that this is going to be a failed level. So that's why I went back and decided to continue with my initial short bias. It's not necessarily because I was taking a loss. It's because I didn't believe in the trade I was taking after I had some info. Remember, our initial bias was short. If this is still valid for a short, we can give it a shot, which is kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that this right here is kind of the order block. Yeah, we want to see this cut through that 15-minute zone. Try to clean these things up as much as I can. It's tricky though. It's tricky because you're obviously down a couple candles. You have the potential to form a wick here, and then this would be the stop invalidation right here. So give it a little bit of time. I'll be honest, I do like this action so far. It's giving me the inclination that we're going to be more likely trending in one way or another, rather than just kind of a flat Asia session. So we're gonna give this one shot right here to the downside. Again, our initial bias was from here down, got trailed a little early, I think. Tried the long for a second, said, no, that's not right. Then we're continuing on the basis of a failed level break. If you're new here, feel free to leave a like, hit the bell notification. We do Asia, we do New York. Stream a couple times a day. So this would be the premise. Just this is a little order block, really. And you look at the second one as an order block as well. As long as it gets below it, that's what you can kind of visualize it as. Mindful though, this could hold and we have about 6 minutes left. Five minute doesn't look too bad. Look at that. It doesn't look too bad, I don't think. I could easily close bearish. Interesting. Interesting. Try to make this a little lighter, too intense. So here's where we either make or break. It looks like it can hold. I would like to see this 5 minute close a little heavier for then it to continue lower. But the main idea is that we fill the bottom of the gap. If we are going to trade lower, we're underneath this new day opening gap from last week. Looking at this as the failed hold of this level to trade here. Then you have this internal low, and then you have this like external area. That's like the framework for what could happen. It just depends if there's going to be volatility in the session or not. I think given the close, there's a good chance there's volatility because of how extreme it was. but we'll just be patient with it. I'm not too keen on trying to short, but you know, we looked at the long, it just didn't really make sense. Seems like it's gonna fail. So we'll try the short to at least trade to these technical points. Super mellow stream. Remember, Asia, we kick our feet up, chill out. Don't try too hard, you know? So here we are. Let me make this lighter. Trying to see some movement. We're just trying to get a good feel for the rhythm of the market, you know? That's really it. We have highs, we have lows, and how we trade between those points really is kind of the ebbs and flows of how price moves. You start to get a feel for how it should kind of go. You have a better idea of what good trades look like. And, you know, in my early years, I would always think that this has to hold, but it's like, in context, this isn't really all that strong. It did make a massive move, and now we're under prior day high. So can we trade here? That would put us closer to that 50% pullback. Both shorts and longs kind of want to see it at least hit here. So we're getting some movement. We can technically trail this a tiny bit, like right here, 40 bucks. This might hit us for that, but really I'm kind of just using that 5-minute prior bar high as a trail. So I don't like this. I don't love this part right here. I want to see it hold below those lows. So when you start to see it sweep right here, this makes me think we're going to reverse at this point. So we got to see it close below there to get some more confirmation that our trade's aligned with the right move. A little lower highs all session, but that could happen. That can change at any point. Not overly committed. Yeah, look at that 5-minute. You see that 5-minute starting to change? It's starting to creep real quietly. It's starting to look like a hammer. If we close strong, it really does change what we're looking at, because now, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, we did tag the 50% of this. So if we're tagging the 50% of the fair value gap from the 15, it could be an indication we're going to hold. That's a good spot. So regardless, all we have to do is simply wait, because we have about 1 minute and 50 seconds till the close. And then from there, we'll have a better idea. We're approaching that new 15-minute as well. See, I don't love this right here. 15 minutes, all right. You know, you can't see much. The 5 minutes, a little sketchy. So yeah, see how it's kind of creeping? If it does this real quietly, it'll just be creeping like this, because then it might want to run for here, from here to here, which would not be bad. It wouldn't be a bad trade, you know? You just had to deal with this prior new day gap right here that we broke below. So I'd be interested in this. This would be like the counter signal up here. Yeah, look at that move. Maybe it's just shaking out real quick. But I am in the mindset that the long might be on right here. Looks clean. It looks really clean right here. Tighten that a little bit, so that way if you're breaking above here, we can look at the long like this to this if we wanted to. This has like one last chance to go lower. Got one last chance right here. It's got its final fight. Got 30 seconds left in this 5-minute candle. Let's see where we close. Things can change pretty quickly either way. We can literally close at the high of the 5-minute or the low of the 5-minute. Yeah, it's really, really indicative of this location right here. 50% of the fair value gap with a 15-minute. I don't mind the long, honestly. There we are. Yeah, I'm watching this. I don't mind this long. There we are. This is tick chart. So I'll just let it take the stop. Whatever it wants to do from there, that's cool. Let's see. Yeah, just flatten. Make it easy. We'll probably do 2 if we're going to look long. I might look long above 330 or 350, but no rush. So we had a couple ideas so far. The short, right, into this kind of area. We thought we might get the continuation after this level failed. Took an early stop here just in case it's not going to work. So it's a little tricky right here, kind of back and forth. But either way, we're still kind of aligned with giving it time and space to work. Not overly committed to any other ideas. Just seeing how we interact with these levels that we have. It's really all you could do. It's like strong, but not really, right? Interesting at the zone. Give it a little bit of time. So either you have this pivot point right here after it's swept below. It's either going to start to dig back to at least like the 350s, or we're actually going to see that leg lower. So we're going to watch it. So I wouldn't mind this as an order block either. It's just a really tricky location. So I need a little more info on it. Other than that, you have this area up here. See what our 15 looks like. Okay, 15, cool. Upper wick formed. We're in this previous new day gap. So if we're still within it, we have the chance to fail below. We'll see. We're doing pretty well with stop management. We're not overcommitted to any ideas. Trying to get a good read on what price wants to do. We have the volatility. There's no doubt about that. We already have a 50-point range on the session. So yeah, it's no secret that price wants to move. Just where? It's a question. Do the 100-tick chart comparison. Yeah, there's a lot of volume going down. 100-tick charts outpacing the 1 minute by a lot. So with a 100-tick chart, every 100 ticks gets you a new candle. 1 minute chart, every minute gets you a new candle. So if there's a lot more 100-tick chart candles than 1 minute chart candles, that means that the 100 ticks happening faster than each minute. So we know the volume's there. Ticks are transactions. I don't want to get suckered into anything, but I do like what I'm seeing. If this is right here, if it's going to maintain below this gap, that gives us the opportunity to look for that internal move again. But we don't have a signal yet. Not that clear. You need a couple things going for you to have a good trade. It's like a song, right? You can't just have good vocals. That's not going to necessarily get you a song. You need instruments. You need a couple things, right? You need a melody. You need drums. You need lyrics, right? It's not just a voice. So if your trade is just based on a level by itself, it might not be the best trade. And matter of fact, it probably isn't even a good trade. So the question is, if we can start to use something like this right here as an order block, then we might have a good trade. That's what I would be considering. So I'd be waiting for a trade below one of these levels, maybe like 320. Yeah, maybe 320. Otherwise, you jump the gun, then you get ran over. No point in that. Best part about these instant funded accounts is you take your time, right? You get your account, 55% off code DTA. If you're interested in the description, you take your time. You work towards payouts, but you don't have to pass an eval. You know, a lot of other firms, you might spend 2 to 10 days on an eval to make the $3,000 to pass it, right? With this account, you get it, you make the $3,000, you pull out 2,500 if you want. Do that in like 10 days, 14 days or something. Take your time with it. So the dynamic of risk will change though. If I'm looking at something like this, I'm probably just going to put my stop right here and then aim for this thing right here. Do this with like 3 or 4 contracts. I'll probably just stick to that, you know? My risk right here is 13 points, 26 to 50, $100. Yeah, that's not too bad. But I'd want to see it kind of close below that level to actually think it's valid. I'm not trying to get shaken out again. It's looking like it. I think I might have to see, yeah, it's 4 minutes. See if we get a 1 minute close like here. So we haven't triggered it. We did test it though, which is interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that gap. We already know it's there. So see, that's the importance of waiting for a close or a follow through. Clean this up. There we are. So if this would trigger, then that's a good trade. If not, we're happy to be out of it. That's what I mean when I say faked out. This has been the fake out zone, this little new day gap. Okay, look at that 5 minute. It's not too bad. It's kind of working, right? It's kind of long. It's kind of bullish. If we're looking to the upside, the only thing is you have this fair value gap overhead. So I'd be cautious of this guy. Can make this full screen. So what do you guys normally trade in? You trade in New York session, you trade London. London wasn't too bad last night, I will say. London was pretty clean. New York, obviously amazing today. Massive move higher, can't really ask for better. So here we are trading to the top of the gap. These levels are pretty significant. I won't pretend they aren't. They're pretty significant. They tend to have a huge impact on price. Whether or not you have the data on it or whatever, I'm just telling you from my experience, I see them, they tend to affect price more than I would like them to. So we had to pay attention to them. But here you are with the NQ gap. It's a little bit bigger. Pull this up right here. And so here we are on the NQ gap. We have a little gap today. The question is, can we reject here? Pull below that. There's some multiple time frames right here. I like to have these on my trading view charts, have the multiple time frames. See the hourly. Yeah, this 15 does look pretty bullish. This might be a good long. I had to really start considering that. We really had to consider that idea. Yeah, by itself, that's a higher low, you know? See, it's an uptrend, higher low. If this is where it's going to bid, then where are we going to trade to? Can we trade to this 345? Guess we'll have to see. Looks like something's going to happen really soon. We have the new hour coming up, guys. So we're about 5 minutes off the new hour. Really just watching these levels. So I'll pull them up again in a second. Just taking a glance at what we have going on. Awesome. So we're still holding, using this time to kind of scan, see what else is going on. We've had some pretty strong moves in the market, I won't lie. So if we look, pull up our regular equities charts. So Apple had a nice push and then fade. That's a pretty good trade. Second day kind of action from the earnings sell-off. We've also had those Microsoft. Yeah, look at Microsoft, higher low forming so far. This is really what's affecting the market a lot. These you gotta remember, these are very high beta names. You know, the whole, before it used to be FANG, now it's Mango stocks, right? These big equities, large market caps. These things are affecting the market in a massive way because this is a huge change in market cap based on an earnings. So if you're not privy to those things, you can really get caught off guard when things are starting to go a little bonkers. So here we are. We're at this prior new day gap high, and it seems like we're holding as a higher low. I'm interested to see whether or not we could trade higher from this point. If not, we're in this previous fair value gap on the 15 where we might fade. So you give it a little bit of time. If I could get a clean displacement, a fair value gap to the upside, I'll get long. If not, I'm gonna look to maybe fade this, but I'm not rushing it just yet. Just giving it time to develop. All right, see, we're starting to fade off this gap high. We do have a fair value gap right here on the 1 minute, so we could potentially invert that. We also have this 5 minute order block that we'd be validating. We also have that 5 minute fair value gap. It seems to be a bit of a bearish run above the new day gap high. So I'm keeping that aspect in mind when I start to look for any further trades from that point on. I'm going to be considering the option that we could trade to the downside. We do have these internal levels that we were eyeing. So give it a second and we'll see what happens. Looking pretty good right here. Yeah, it might be a good short to take. We could try it right here. We could try it on this inverse between here and here. This gap, we might try it on the fail. Something down here. Because then we can have our stop above that swing high. The 5 minute seems to like that idea. But I'm not eager to jump in, so I'm giving a little bit of room. Or like right here. 24, have her stop at like 31, 30. It's rejecting a couple levels. So yeah, we'll watch this. So we get the question, how long did it take you to become profitable? I mean, longer than it probably should have, realistically. I try to tell people that because number one, it's gonna take as long as it takes for you to learn the strategy, but then it's gonna take even a different amount of time for you to actually learn to follow it. I think everybody can figure out, like, you buy the higher low, you short the lower high, you know, use the levels. You find that out in the first couple months, but for you to actually trust that long-term enough and do that without messing up or deviating, it's going to take you probably a couple of years. And if you're a normal person, you'll figure it out. If you're super stubborn, it might take even longer than that. So, I mean, I've been trading, I traded all through COVID. I traded all through Biden. So, I mean, I've been trading for quite some time, but you know, there'd be moments early on where first couple of months, I'd have some profitable weeks, but then a bad week would come around and I would just destroy my account. So that's what I mean. It's, if you could be calm and collected, you could become profitable pretty quick. I know people say, oh, it takes, you know, this amount of time. It doesn't have to, I don't think. I don't think so. It's not, this stuff isn't complicated. It's just sometimes challenging to trust the process. So I would say to you, is like, how long, like, how do you do with studying in school and stuff like that? If you're good at memorizing things, if you're good at remembering things, you should probably be able to figure out trading pretty quick. And then the second question is, how calm of a person are you? If you're super emotional, super angry and stuff like that, or, you know, impulsive, like, it's going to take you a minute because you have to change who you are to keep the money you're making. Otherwise, it's just never going to happen. It's too hard to keep money with bad habits. It literally will not happen. It'd be like asking how long does it take you to bench 405 or get in shape. My question is like, how consistent are you at going to the gym, aka doing what you're supposed to do? With trading, that'd be following your strategy. And then the second question is, how bad are your destructive habits? If you're like, oh, I eat fast food and binge drink every day of the week, it's probably gonna take you a minute to get in shape. So here we go. We got it says started 6 months ago. Since 1 month started with the supply and demand. Okay. Okay, yeah, software engineer. Yeah. So if you're technically inclined, you could probably do pretty well with this. If you have the ability to sit through like boring stuff, I'm assuming if you're working on software and doing all that stuff, it's not exactly the quickest thing. You know, I'll mess around with some audio files and I'll be, on Ableton for 5 hours, listen to kick sounds. Like so that stuff, it comes natural to me. But for me, like sometimes I'll get stubborn with things and I'll end up taking the same type of trade and it leads to a bunch of issues. I think we were looking for a number. That was a long answer, but how many years did it take you? On year 2, I was having profitable months. Year 2, I ended relatively break even on year 2. But again, like when I answer a question, I'm trying to give you something that I think is going to matter more to you. I don't think our friend here really cares about how long it takes me personally. Yeah, you know what I mean? He's asking because it's in the context of how does it apply to him. So that's just something you pick up on. The question that people ask isn't always a question. Year 3, it was pretty good. Then I'll have months ever since then, like they'll be good or bad. It just, kind of happens with market rotations. What do you think of ICT from Michael Huddleston? I think a lot of the concepts are okay. They're pretty solid. I think there's better ways to learn than watching like a 7-hour, series of videos for just a couple trade entries. So I think his ability to conceptualize things is good. I don't really know much about him as a person or anything. I don't really know much about him as a trader. I don't know him, but I think his concepts are good. I think you can learn something from everybody. And some of the best traders I personally know that aren't on the internet or anything, they like give that guy a thumbs up in terms of his like strategy. So it seems to work for me. A lot of what we're talking about today they're concepts that he's like pointed out, but they're not necessarily his. I have books from other guys like Larry Williams or a million other traders that have PDFs and all this stuff. You get answers that he might talk about in those books. So the question is here, are we going to hold this new day gap high? It's possible. We might break this inside bar to the upside. We might break this to the upside. So we have that 5-minute gap, this 15-minute gap overhead. I still think we might want to fade it. Best way to do it. You learn everything and then you pick and choose what you like. I'm not going to be like, oh, you have to learn this or that. I've learned from a couple different people. I've had mentors, I've learned from different YouTube sources. I've been to different seminars. I still go to that stuff. I still talk to traders. I have the good fortune of knowing a lot of really good traders in person. So I've been able to pick their brain from time to time. But I know a lot of people don't have that same kind of opportunity. So learn online. Because it's you have to find the right people, of course. It's extremely rare though to find other traders in person. It almost never happens. So it looks like we might be rejecting. We're looking for the downside move. We do have some internal levels we like. I'm not too like committed to either way, up or down right now. I see the short logic. I'm willing to try it, but again, it doesn't need to be the case that we take this trade. It'd be something like this. Premise being that this trade, really, if we look at it, from 3:30, right, to 4 p.m. and you have 5 p.m. So basically, the majority of this move happened after hours. This happened after the close, essentially, in that last hour of the day. So my thoughts are, it's not super thick volume right here. This is mostly based on some sort of news or some sort of end-of-day pump. Typically earnings is going to be something like that. So, but I'm not oblivious to the fact we are in this gap. So we can trade higher. We do have this 15. It looks pretty good. Yeah, Palantir, nice. Yeah, I really wish I saw my Palantir. Really wish I saw my Palantir. Not all crazy, but let's see, where are we at? Yeah, 160. I think I sold Palantir at I think 150s here. I was in here. I was in like right here at like the 90s, 80s, and 90s. It's like 82 or something. So 150. It's not terrible, but yeah. Yeah, it's always a gotta ask with charts like that. It's like how much higher can they trade? Price earnings ratios and all that stuff. It gets pretty extreme sometimes. I think it's like 500 PE. All right, what are we doing here? So we stabbed through this prior new day gap high, and are we holding the top side, or are we simply validating this as a resistance level? That's where it gets tricky. I don't like this price action right here. I'll be honest with you. It's pretty sideways. It's pretty choppy. There's not a lot of dynamic moves. Yeah, thanks, man. It was a good trade. I mean, I really liked a lot of the April longs that we talked about. Really February, March, April longs. I put that on my YouTube channel quite some time ago. A lot of those trades ended up being really good. Robinhood trade was amazing. Robinhood, I think it was well over 100% that I made. I don't have the hood anymore. I sold the hood. Sold the hood at like, yeah, I bought hood. It literally like the 45 or something, and sold it in the hundreds. Like 100. So that was a really good one as well. But you know, you don't get opportunities like that all the time. I think we try this. Maybe 2 contracts. I don't want to overcommit to this because I don't want to get baited into the highs. But I'm thinking maybe we're invalidating this as a long. Something like this. So the idea would be to trade back to prior day high. It's feeling very skittish. So even though it's moving, the 15 looks great. I'm a little skeptical of this. What do you have? What do you have overhead? You have 400. What does that look like on the daily? Where are we at for the daily chart? Man, look at that. So I want to see where we're at actually in terms of, I know we measured this prior day range, but where are we at in this swing? I think it's like red. So we're above 50% of that. Long 328. Nice. Yeah, 328 is a good entry. Yeah, 342 target. It's a good trade. That's a good trade. I like that idea. So where's 61.8 at? Damn, that's all the way up here. That's like that. That's crazy. I don't think we'll do all that. So I'm starting to think if we're just doing a pullback inside of this range from swing high to swing low, maybe the 61.8 is where we're going to go. It's kind of hard to gauge, right? It's like we're kind of hard to gauge what we want to do yet. Hey, puppy. How you doing? See the 4 hour? Yeah, look at that 4 hour chart. As we get over here. So we need to flip this 4 hour. Then we have a level at 466, 465. Interesting. It's like all the way up there. Dang. That really is a ways away. Need this to hold right here, higher low. If it's not going to hold, I'll take this off. Not super committed here. Because I'm looking in, like, if our only structure's up at 465, that might take New York to get there. I don't know if it wants to do that right now. Probably not, honestly. So again, this is kind of the logic we're working off of. We've tried a couple ideas in this area where, again, we're not super committed. We're kind of just throwing dimes at it. It's a bit tricky, right? So you have this 15-minute gap, you have this prior new day gap. We want to see it technically trade lower, but if it's going to hold here, then we'll go for it. But it seems like it doesn't want to hold. So that's the main issue there. We're gonna give it a little bit of time. We'll have it in the prior new day gap as our stop. But essentially, if this closes above, then maybe it's good for the upside. Kind of tricky. Not really loving the action. The volatility is there, volume's there. It's just I'm not getting a clear read on direction here, which is all right. Sometimes it's not super obvious. It seems like if this is the low and we reclaim this, we're basing out this like the first higher low. This could be the start of a buy model, which I'd be okay with, obviously being long, but again, we're not super eager to force anything here. So what are we looking for right here? It's pretty simple. I'll break it down again. If we are reclaiming this new day gap high, we want anything above this to hold as a higher low. We want to see this kind of get far away really quickly so that this candle closure is much stronger than what we're at right now. So the element of time is that's where this stuff really matters. It's not that like, oh, it has to happen this quick. It's like, no. For this trade to work well, it needs to have a strong close. So therefore it has to happen within a certain amount of time. But yeah, people try to overstate the importance of time when really all we're doing is qualifying the type of action we need to see to trust the action, to trust the trade. So we're getting a little bit of a push. It's not the end of the world. See this? I see the timing sales, or sorry, the order book right here. I see it wiggling around more, which means there's more volume coming in. It's happening faster. So our goal is for this to then run for these highs. You'd want to see how we react here. As our upside level of interest. I'll even reduce it to this. So you can always take a fair value gap and move it to the top of the swing point, because then it shows you what hasn't been tested at all. That's what I like doing personally. So we have our stop below the swing low, really just a baby position looking for it to trade through the highs. I have no idea where this wants to go. So, I mean, I'm just going to kind of manage it. You know, I could even put this in profit soon. I'm just gonna leave it right here. $9, I'm not too concerned. So just kind of stabbing away. What do we see? Higher low. It gave us the higher low. It's validating as we wanted it to. Now I just really need to see strong closes towards 344. Let's pull up that 15 again. Make sure we're not getting duped. Yeah, 15 looks good. I'll pull up the 1 minute instead. So here we are. This is our workflow. We have the 15 minute and the 1 minute. So we got our workflow for today. I'm just going to arbitrarily have my limit at 200 points. I don't have a feeling that it's going to hit that or anything, but our goal will be just to kind of manage it by trailing the stop towards these highs. This is like the very common base hit trade. Prior day highs, like very easy money. But if this is going to get a little bit weird, I mean, there's room above head. So, I mean, it really can run. I don't really think it needs to right now. But again, like our next level is, it's like 4 hour fair value gap. So it's pretty low resistance if you ask me to the upside. But we don't need all this. We'll look for something here, right? Even 400 is cool. But 360 is obvious. That's a real basic target for sure. So we give it some time. We let it cook. We got that 15-minute close. Not too bad. I would say it's a relatively favorable close. Now we just need this to essentially get above here and use this as the order block then. So we're invalidating this 15-minute gap. We respected the 5 right here, the 15 again. I don't know why I keep saying 5. Got this one. So all signs are bullish so far. We could do this. So we are in profit now. Break even essentially. I'll make this maybe $5 so it's really break even. But I need this to get above here. I need to get above here and be convincing above this. So this is from the 1 minute chart right here. That's that gap. You need to get above. I can trail this a little more. I'm gonna do prior bar low. Nice. Yeah, that's a good trade, man. I'm glad you got that one. I'm glad you got that. So yeah, 2NQ, boom. That's money. That's money. You're better off, honestly, like for anybody with a little bit of experience, you're better off trading NQ with size than aiming for the bigger moves. The bigger moves in NQ, they can have, I'm sorry, in Asia sessions specifically. You definitely want to use small size for New York, but with Asia specifically, you're better off with a little bit of size. Because you hit this, you bank 10 points, two contracts. That's good money. That's good money right there. For us, it's like we're looking at like 200 points up here. You know, that'd be the same thing as hitting 10 points with 2 contracts of a full-size NQ. Plus, you saw our stop was like $20 or $30 or something, $50 maybe. Here's that rejection at that level we're talking about. We need to see it hold above. Pull up the 15-second chart, just give you a little more detail. Pull up the 1 minute here so we see the side by side. You want this to hold as a higher low. The 15 doesn't convince me too much. This can easily kind of just peter out and then just dump. But if we do catch a bid in this gap, then we are in the driver's seat. Other than that, though, I appreciate everybody coming through, hanging out for the stream. We are live for Asia. We stream New York as well. So leave a like if you enjoy the stream. It helps YouTube bring more like-minded traders here. 10, 15-point scalp trader, that's the best way to do it, honestly. You keep it real simple, low threshold. It's easy to win. You know, you don't need a lot. Makes it way easy. Yeah, this is like invalidating the idea. I can move this a little bit. I don't want to really all that much, but maybe it needs a tick or two. So the question is whether or not we're going to break this. Hey man, yeah, thank you. I appreciate the sub. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out. My goal is just to keep it real with people, show you what I'm trading. Sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. You know, the idea is you just don't lose too bad, too aggressive, right? These losses I'm cool with. This trade I'm okay if it stops me out here. I was aiming for more, so it's just chalk it up to the game. It's the cost of doing business. I don't really have a lot of options. I don't want to let this one go red, but yeah. So today we'll be down probably 60 bucks, 50 bucks, something like that. It's just not holding at the highs. That was the only problem. We rejected that area we talked about though. So I think that's cool to see. This gap got kind of inverted. Gonna erase that real quick. I can maybe get a 2, yeah, 1 more point, 1 more dollar. So I'm expecting the stop to happen really soon. It's just pulling back pretty deep. Yeah, it's a pretty deep pullback. I would say even from this swing point to here. I mean, I guess it's 61.8, but it's such a small time frame that's like hard to respect that. Yeah, I think this is pretty much chalked. It's all good though. At least we caught the move. Like at least we saw what was going to happen. We were able to position for it. And then in typical Asia fashion, just pulled back a little too deep. It's all good. All good. Maybe be a little more proactive next time on my end, a little more size, take it off into the level that we thought would be a problem. Simple as that. But today we're just kind of nibbling at some stuff, and it looks like we're probably gonna stop us out here. So I think we'll be done looking at the charts right now. You can see this kind of bottom out. We'll see. So chances are we'll be wrapping this up in a couple minutes. Thank you everybody for hanging out. We'll be live tomorrow morning, so feel free to come hang out for the New York stream. And our goal here is just to make trading entertaining. So we're gonna do some cool stuff in the future. Nothing confirmed yet, but we will be doing some more just cool types of streams. We'll be get some giveaways for New York, and yeah, we'll kind of go from there. So yeah, just give us a couple more seconds. We took a trail on that one. I'm gonna take a look at what we're actually doing here. Maybe I'm missing something. Kind of invalidating a lot. I don't know. This seems like an aggressive short to get into. What's going on here, guys? What do you think? I don't know. Are we going to now trade towards that internal low we talked about? We do have this 5 minute right here. I do kind of like this. See if we can do this. I don't want too much of a stop though. Might be too aggressive on the entry. I need to wait a second. I think I might have just got too aggressive here because I didn't see it close, obviously. So I'm gonna probably take this off in a second. We'll see. Either way, I think I'm good with this one for the last one. Yeah, we got a little 15-second gap right here. We'll just risk off of. See, we get the momentum and look to trade towards 300. Nice little long trap if that's the case. And where do we have the rest? Yeah, down the lows. Okay. So we'll give this a run. This is just being adaptive. I'm not necessarily reacting because I don't really need to take the trade. I'm trying to just roll with what I'm seeing develop. A lot of times you might be like, oh, I don't have the perfect entry, but it's like if the directional bias is making itself kind of clear, it can pay to just be willing to take a shot. So we'll give it a chance. I really don't want to risk more than this, though. I'm cool with that. Yeah, back into the new day gap high. I think this is pretty interesting, to say the least. See if we get a validation below the swing low. So we're on the 30-second. Yeah, nothing really. Alrighty. Question is, can we confirm this 5-minute order block? It's real aggressive. I mean, obviously, I really would prefer to be up here, but there's no entry here for me. Looking at it like this, the continuation. Really just trading these same levels all day. It's kind of funny. All right, goal is to get one off at 10 points, give or take. Kind of delete a little bit of the loss. Aim for the 300 mark after that, 23K 300. And then after that, we'll be looking for the 280 and then like below the swing. Hard to say though. Very, very whippy. Very whippy. I do like the idea what we're doing. We're inverting this 5-minute gap as well right here. See inversion. So if we could get that next leg lower, 10 points should be reasonable given the fact that we just moved, I don't know, 22 points off the highs, give or take. It should be reasonable. But yeah, this is definitely gonna be my last one. I've tried to rotate a couple times, so if I can't get this rotation right, then I'm good. I'll just wait for tomorrow. Take my minus $100 and just wait until tomorrow. Zero momentum yet, so it could be trap. Could be a trap for me. I normally find if I'm entering a trade and it does not move whatsoever from my entry price, it's more than likely some sort of bait or a trap, because I like to be in trades that move almost immediately, especially like this. This is a momentum based trade. I'm looking at this gap, hold, and then look for the next leg lower through the Spire New Day gap. So we need that. We need that all in alignment. Try to make these levels less ugly. So there's the 5-minute candle just opened. See what the 1 minute looks like. 1 minute's all right. We have a 1 minute gap right here too. So we'll just go to the 1 minute and then the 5 minute. Cool. Simplify. One minute gap. Now the goal is to just trade below these lows. You can delete this off of here. Just make it a 1. Okay. So I like this because we swept a high, we tagged a level of interest, the first fair value gap of the session. Now we're back into this prior new day gap, looking to run out these lows to then trade below this swing. You see it on the 5 minute as well. We never got to this 5 minute up here. Tragic. So we'll see. Really shouldn't hold like this though. It should kind of just move. It should kind of be urgent if it is the idea I think it is. And if it's going to hold, then it's probably going to just trap me. So that's something to keep in mind. Alrighty. Alrighty. Let's see if we get this. So very simple premise. We came towards the highs. We rejected this opening fair value gap, and now we're back in this new day gap. That's why I liked it. Fair value gap formed after I was in it. Cool, great, that's perfect. I want to see it trade below this new day gap low. That's really my last line of defense for resistance, you know, anything to fight my idea. So it could find support here, it could hold it. If it breaks through this low, it should run the swing low. I need this new day gap level to be broken. We also had a new day gap level up here, but I don't really feel like drawing it. You saw a strong reaction on this 1 minute candle to that new day gap level so far. We just need to see if it'll break through here. So I'm looking at that specifically. Looks a little toppy, right? It looks like a lower high kind of action. You see the sweep, see this, boom. Can we run it? It's being pretty stubborn right here, so could very well backfire on us. But either way, you know, we stay calm. We focus on what it is we're looking for in the chart, and if it's not showing up, then so be it. A little unfortunate we walked this one back, though. That would have been a good trade. Alrighty, so this thing's getting a little squirrely. Let's see it. I need to see it make a move lower soon. Look at the 15-second just to give it a little more clarity. So you see the details more. You want to see this roll over and break this low under here with some sort of oomph. You want to see some defining break. Same when you see a defining break here, you want to see it to the downside now. I got maybe 1 minute left in me, and then I'm gonna probably cut it early. But either way, hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully it was good for you guys to see some insight into real live trading, breaking down my mindset, my process, the highs, the lows, the cool, the bad, the ugly. And yeah, that's all it is, really. You know, it's how do you manage from situation to situation. Some are good, some are not as good, I guess. But it really shouldn't affect how you feel or how you act. It's all the same thing at the end of the day. To win, you have to lose well. Otherwise, you won't be around to win again. 2 minute looks like sketchy. So I was holding this gap. I'm pretty close to cutting it. I'm gonna give it probably 1 or 2 more candles, and then we'll probably cut it early if it doesn't take the stop. I just don't love to see so many inside bars like this. I need to see something close weaker. Come on, NASDAQ. Let's see what you got. See what you got. Is this a bottom or are we rounding over? Are you bottoming or are you rounding over? Make up your mind. You would think after a strong push like this, the fall back into this range could equal the inversion of this whole kind of thing. You have all these higher lows right here, no sweeps. So they could just kind of get ran. Either way, our stop's in the technical spot that I prefer. If it fails, cool. If it works, cool. 15-second, just for a little more detailed view. Let's see a break below the swing low at 322, guys. See if we can get it. So really our last push right here. Let's see if we got it. So we're seeing a little bit of momentum. Okay, cool. We're seeing some momentum here. This is going to be dropped in profit relatively soon. I'm not going to do it just yet. I'm going to wait until we get to like 20s. Because it could snap back at any second on me. So we're getting the move that we're anticipating. That's good. Okay, I'm going to trail it in profit. So now we just need to see if it could hit our targets. This trade's officially risk-free, which is half of it, right? That's half of it with Asia. But we need to see if this candle is going to just close lower instead of just wicking us out. We have a 15-second fair value gap. I'm not loving all we got. This could just bounce. Look at this. This might just get us. What do you guys think? You think we're safe? You think we're gonna get stopped? We have the gap right here. We could just roll and run to the target. Let's see it. Let's see it. Can we get some good order flow? But my part's done. Now we just need the market to keep up. Okay, I moved it a little just to get it out because sometimes it'll get really close and not run it and not tag the order. In Asia specifically, I don't ever really do that in New York, but in Asia, I absolutely will move it a couple ticks, couple points, whatever, just to get the exit. Nice, that's a good trade. That's a good trade. That's a really good trade. I'm looking to see if the 5 minutes gonna start to follow through. So now our next target below this would be 300. I don't necessarily recommend you need to hold to 300. I think the trade we just got was amazing. I'm just looking for these little bit longer of a run, but you know, that's all good. Yep, yeah. Well, more size, easy. It's a better move for Asia, that's for sure. 160 bucks divided by 3. So yeah, we'll be like break even on the day. And then we'll look for profit past that. In retrospect, maybe I should have sized a little bit heavier today, but I didn't feel too confident with the structure. I just kind of played it based on how like I was looking at it. So I'm gonna throw a couple pennies just because it's not like super clear for me, which is fine. Let's see, I don't want this to get trailed just yet, but I don't want it to get stopped. Interesting. Don't really have an option there. I can give it to break even, but that's about it. So we have this 5 minute right here. We have this 1 minute gap forming. Yeah, we have this 1 minute gap. So if we can hold below here, that's a good sign. But I mean, it is already kind of folding. So I think the stop's coming next. We'll see. Yeah, it got close. Got close. It's probably going to flip and stop us. It's all good. Yeah, I think it's going to flip and stop us out. But either way, we reduced the loss a little bit. Now we're only down 30 bucks, 38 bucks. If we could get this to roll over, however, we have a good shot at reaching 300. The 300 rotation is really where the money's at. So I'm looking for it. I'm willing to stay in the trade. I feel like we have a good enough entry to ride. We took one off at the previous swing low right here, which was nice. So we just got to give it the room. Let it roll. If you guys are new here, definitely leave a like. We stream Asia, we stream New York. We're trading today on Top One Futures account, 50K account. Instant funded. There's info in the description if that's what you're into. 55% off, end of summer sale. Use code DTA. But right now, all we do is just hang on for dear life, right? That's all you can do when they pull back like this in Asia. I promise you, this is extremely common with the session. So at least we got something off at the low. Maybe we should have taken another off. Hard to say. I was looking for 300. I'm probably down to take more off at 300 than I am to take more off here, but that's all good. Yeah, let's see. I think we might be getting the stop. I could give it. That's like as much I want to give it. Yeah, it's probably gonna run it. Let's see. Here's the problem. When you're break even, right? You might be saying, why don't I just put the stop here? Because I actually really don't know how high it would want to run. It could just run here. It could run here. If I'm trying to give it a little more room just to stay in the trade, I'd rather just keep it at break even, because even if it just shoots up a little bit, if I so desired, I could just re-enter and I'm not losing anything. But yeah, it's a real tricky balance, because sure, you get price that wants to go down, but you also have the liquidity that's super thin in this market. So it could just pop. Even if it wants to go down, it could just pop real quick. So we're starting to see this. It's the start of a good move. That's all we have. We have the start of a good move. We were able to get one partial off, but nothing really happens until we start to break this 313 area. And it just really depends if we could do it. The 15 is still pretty bullish. With a close up here, the 15 is pretty bullish. We need a close under that low. And then that will give us the run to 300. And then we could look to potentially trade down to here or 270 or something. But as it stands, I think we're going to get wicked out. We're going to get taken out of this trade. It's really, really tricky. Either way, this is casual trading, casual Asia trading, a couple contracts. We're in 4, now we're in 3, looking for the move through the lows. So if you're new here, leave a like, it goes a long way. Helps YouTube know more people should be checking out the stream, and that's what we appreciate around here. Alrighty, look at this. See the little gap right here? I don't love these. Normally means we're gonna get stopped pretty quick. So all good, we gave it a run. Maybe it will toy with us a little bit, maybe not, but we have the 1 minute fair value gap right there. We did sweep this low, and now we're holding under the fair value gap. You guys take your picks, place your bets, see what's going to happen. You think we're going to survive this pullback? Let me know. It's always nice when you get a little bit of a nail biter, right? When it comes real close to the stop, and it's like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to make it. So it makes you feel alive as a trader. Otherwise, it's too easy. You need a little bit of the challenge. So you have two main options with Asia. It's either hit Asia with big size and aim for a really, really, really small move, like well within the predefined structure, or you can do one where you size a little smaller on the chance that you get 1 or 2 runners. I think that could really just add to the P&L. Especially on these 50K accounts, you know, I'm never aiming for a day more than $600 on these accounts. So if I can make $200-300 in Asia, and then I'd find a decent trade the next day, it's $100, you know, you're up $400 on the day, you know, and that puts you really close to a 600, which would be for the consistency rule. So you make $3 grand on this account, less than $600 a day, aim it for like 10 days, 14 days, you know, 20 days at most or whatever. You pull out 2,500 of these 50K accounts for a couple $100. So it's pretty handy deal. No eval required. There's benefits to pretty much every type of account, but there's also cons to every type of account. Just gotta see what makes the most sense to you. Alrighty, let's see what we're gonna do. Are we gonna roll? Are we gonna roll? What do you think? I still think we're gonna pop. I think we're gonna go for that, but I could be wrong. Hope so. Alrighty, let's see. Let's let it work its magic. All right, look at that. So we're seeing that pop back into the entry price. Is it going to stop us out? This has really been a kind of tricky spot. It makes you think it's over, but is it over? Let's see, what do we have on the 15 second? So it looks like we had a rally higher. 15 second doesn't look too crazy. Can we get that push lower though, guys? What do you think? We really are kind of just going back and forth with this. It would be nice if it holds. We have room to trade down to 300. That's our goal, 300. Question is, are we going to respect the bottom end of this new day gap? I think it's going to hold as a resistance. However, price action right here has been really tricky. It makes me think we're getting stopped. So even though I like the level, it's showing me the trade isn't going to work. Anyways, at least we got one contract off. We got one contract off at the lows here, basically running under that prior low. Now it looks like we're just going to get shaken out. It could start a reversal here. It could hold, but right now it's pretty uncertain. Hard for me to gauge it. It just keeps drifting to these highs. And whether or not it pulls back off them, it's like, take your pick, right? So 1 minute chart's been our main source right here. Started on a lower time frame, entered here. Now we're just trying to hang on for dear life. 42, so we have a couple minutes till the next 15-minute candle. Doesn't look great for us. Looks pretty bullish on the 15. 15-second, yeah, it looks like this is probably the trail right here. There we are, we're out of the trade. Alrighty, guys. So we tried for the short, it's all good. Made back a couple bucks. We're down $30 on the day, believe it or not, 30 bucks. We've just been playing with pennies, so it's not a big deal. However, we've seen 2 failed breaks below this gap. It's probably going to be a wrap right there. I think we're good on that one. And yeah, thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for asking questions. We'll be live tomorrow for New York. And also we'll be live tomorrow for Asia. So if you are around for either, feel free to set a notification, hit the bell, and check us out. Until then, as always, decipher the algo.